Hey gang, it's Az. So, I'm going to do a direct response video to a video published by The Guardian. I'm going to post it in the comment link below. I was actually listening to a video by Sargon of Akkod, great content provider on many different things. Interestingly enough, he's a classical liberal, not some, everyone thinks people have a tendency to immerse themselves in echo chambers, and he's a very well-spoken individual. I don't agree with him on a lot of things, but I do agree with him on a lot of things, and I'm sure he would say the same about me if he ever met me in person or talked about me. But so I was watching this video, and then when it got into this video, I decided to stop watching his video on this video because I wanted to react to it myself. So I made it about 5 seconds into the video when he was listening to it, and like I said, I opted out and decided to come do this video. So without further ado, let's start this up. It's by The Guardian, and the video is entitled "When They Go Low, Going High Is Not Enough" by Nezreen Malik. So let's hit play, and here we go. Hopefully you can hear it well.
When they go low, going high is not enough. Let's get this straight. In principle, it's never okay to hit anyone, Nazi or otherwise.
I'm a big proponent of taking comments like that, rhetorical statements like that, just these things that we say without thinking and saying to throw them in the garbage. The first thing is it's not acceptable to say it's never okay to hit someone. Again, I don't know if she's going to go into this afterwards because I've never seen the video. So I don't know if she's going to talk, for example, about self-defense or defending my kids or defending other people or defending people who are being attacked by others or in danger or being threatened with great bodily harm. My mom, when me and my sister, I have a younger sister, we were younger, she sat us down one time and said to my sister first, because on top of my having a sister and me, we have an older brother. My older brother is big. He's like 6'8", 6'9", just a massive dude. So my sister had this habit of, between him and I, running off at the mouth a lot, which got us into trouble because we ended up having a fight on her behalf. And one day my mom sat her and I down and said, first to my sister, she's like, don't ever talk to a man or raise your hand to a man like you're a man unless you understand that you may be treated like a man and you may get hit. And she said to her, you may get away with it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, or 100 times. But one day, some guy might punch you as if you were a man because you put yourself in the situation to be on level with a man, and understand that that's the way it is. And, like I said, it may never happen, and it may happen the first time, but that's your responsibility. And then my mom looked at me and said, if a woman ever raises her hand to you like a man, you treat her like a man. There's nothing wrong with hitting a woman if the situation calls for it. And I talked about this with several people in my life before, and I was like, I won't hesitate to hit a woman. Now, there may be a difference where if some woman is what I consider deserving of being hit, I may just jab her in the mouth, and maybe that little ding back will be like, oh wow, that made me realize I should probably not try and hit this guy, or shut up and probably leave the situation. Whereas if it's a guy and I feel threatened, I may throw a couple punches and do that differently. So there's a bit of bias there. But similarly, if I had some 103-pound scrawny dude trying to pick a fight with me, I may just jab him. To me, it's about the assessment of the level of the threat. Now, if I got some big bodybuilder woman coming at me like she's going to swing, I may, clock her a couple times until she goes down. Maybe throw a kick to the ribs just to make sure that she's not getting up until the police get there. But, it's not about gender. It's about generalities, meaning women have a tendency, I'm a 6'3" guy. Women have a tendency to be smaller than me. Guys, not so much. It's more of a play. So it's just about threat assessment. So I just thought that's interesting. Like, I don't believe that it's never okay to hit someone. The other issue I don't agree with is saying, it's never okay to hit a hit a Nazi, or it is okay to hit a Nazi. I don't believe saying the statement it's never okay to hit a woman is okay. Just like I don't believe it's saying it's never okay to hit a Nazi, or it is always okay to hit a Nazi. If you see some dude walking around doing the salute with a swastika on his arm, it's not open season to punch a dude in the mouth. Similarly, if I see a Black Lives Matter protest and I don't agree with it, I'm not going to go punch a dude in the mouth. But when it comes down to having a threat on my to my physical well-being, I don't care if they're a Nazi. I don't care if they're a woman. I don't care if they're a war veteran. I don't. To me, that's the most irrelevant thing. I talked about that in a video about verbally. People think they're above reproach, and physically, there's some people who think that they're above any kind of consequences for their actions, and there's not. So, with that said, let's go back to the video. 9 seconds in and 5 minutes later.
But when Richard Spencer was punched while giving an interview in the street, it was a cathartic moment for many. A lot of us...
For those of you that don't know, Richard Spencer is a white nationalist, white supremacist, who generally, at least to my knowledge, is not violent. This is a big misconception about white supremacists and white nationalists. We have a tendency as a society to think like they're out there burning crosses, pulling black people out of cars. A lot of them just are interested in segregation, which segregation is more on the legal aspect of it. They just don't think that black people and minorities should be here. I don't agree with that, but I do agree with them having the opinion to think that. And if they are not going up and punching black people who are doing interviews in the name of white separatist beliefs, then by the same manner, they should not be open to just randomly being attacked and then have not even the lack of justice, but like social applause for it and have praise coming in on that. That's nonsense.
Find ourselves at a loss for how to respond as frightening and dangerous views are suddenly not only being aired, but mainstreamed. Unable to adjust, we continue to engage with these views like they were just a new school of controversy. The world had changed, but we hadn't caught up. That punch, it caught us up.
When they go low, we go high,
said Michelle Obama.
So, punching I don't want to say just punching, but physically assaulting a dude, violating the law, and violating a person's ability to walk down the street, apparently woke up a nation, because that's going high.
Amid the rising ugliness of Trump's campaign. Well, going high doesn't always work. Some positions simply cannot...
She's exactly right. Sometimes going high doesn't work. A situation when going high doesn't work, when you're wrong. Sometimes you may get attention, you may get praise, you may get sympathy towards people, which will validate your cause in your head, and maybe even further it to a degree, but at some point, you're going to come to a position where those false beliefs cannot defy common sense, logic, statistics, and you can't shout down Islamophobe, racist, bigoted, patriarchy at someone and just beat them into submission. Like eventually, there's going to be that resistance. So she's right. She just is wrong at the same time.
Be entertained, let alone argue. There is this fallacy on the left around reason, let alone work. Some positions simply cannot be entertained, let alone argued.
Some positions cannot be entertained or argued against. That's a perfectly valid thing to say. If you're completely wrong, illogical, and have no substance at all to your argument, and if the other side that you're opposing has any shred of validity, because you can argue any point. If you get two individuals together who can talk to one another, disagree, present valid points, and talk to each other as people, and not just shout down personal attacks and racial slurs, or questioning their character. If you can avoid all that and actually focus on the subject of the debate, you can debate anything. I'm not a white genocide believer, but I could sit here right now and make a valid case to you about about the validity of white genocide and how people can believe it. I could make a valid point make a valid argument about the gender pay gap, even though I don't believe it exists, because there are certain views that you can have and certain perspectives you can have that can lead one to believe that. So sitting there and say that there are some unthinkable things, there are, if you believe, like, I don't know, Donald Trump is a frogman from space, and Obama was a literal sheep in wolf's clothing, and he wanted to make a caliphate, and that was why he, did all, like, there are those valid arguments, but even then, that doesn't mean that you cannot have a conversation about it. You just have to present the facts of that person and let them prove themselves wrong with their inability to support their position with any kind of logic or fact or reasoning or even personal experience, anecdotal evidence. Like, my feels tell me that, Obama was this, and, I know people who think Trump, it means this. Oh, yeah, that's your opinion. Now present the evidence. Like, present the evidence that he hates Muslims, present the evidence that he hates gays and is banning abortion. Like, the evidence that you have for that is your feelings. The evidence against thinking that he is all of those things are the things that he says, the policy he has enacted and the policy he has not enacted. So, for example, if he was against gays and lesbians, he wouldn't have stood up there with the flag and several times over several different speeches over several different months talk about how he's going to protect the LGBT community, and then the lack of him having the laws banning you from being whatever you want to be. Like, all of that is evidence against your argument, but you're still more than willing to, or still more than allowed to do that, have that argument.
There is this fallacy on the left around reasoned debate. Don't assault and boycott racists.
Don't assault and boycott racists. The amount of play in between those two words is incredibly disingenuous on her behalf. So, like, you can only choose one or the other. You could either boycott, whatever racist places there are out there, or you can physically assault them. Like, you can't do one or the other. You can't protest peacefully. You can't march. You can't try to get voted into office. You can't make a company that competes with the racist company and their main platform is being not racist, which you would think a lot of people say, I got white power coffee or I have average Joe's coffee. I'm going to go with the white power coffee just because they're the established, I'm black and I may be Muslim or gay, but, white power coffee it is. So for her to say that, it is just incredibly, like, misleading and disingenuous. Like, you could boycott them, and there's nothing wrong with that. That speaks and hurts a lot more people than it does punching some dude in the face and lighting some woman's hair on fire at a women's march. There are all these things that I would argue cement people's beliefs, and they don't necessarily... So punching a dude in the face on the street or lighting a woman's hair on fire at a pro-women's march doesn't necessarily give validity to the other side, but I would argue it does. However, what it does do is loses any credibility that you have for your cause to rational people. Like, I was kind of with them, and, I came to realize, if some woman doesn't agree with feminism, we should be lighting their hair on fire. Like, there aren't too many people that think that. It's not a good way to get your point across. So let's go back.
Reasoned debate. Don't assault and boycott racists and misogynists. Debate with them. Don't go low, go high. Be better.
It's not necessarily about being better. It's about a level playing field. If I'm going to debate you, and I'm going to debate your beliefs, your thoughts, or your position, and your response is a personal attack about how racist and bigoted I am, then that's not a level playing field. So it's not about being better than them. It's about trying to elevate yourself to a position where you're potentially equal with them. God, I wish you could see this lady's dumb face that I paused it on the exact moment.
But why? Why should we be better?
Yeah.
Just for the sake of being better? Or because being better produces results? This philosophical Achilles heel is paralyzing liberal democracy.
Correct. That's why there's still open hostilities against Hindus in the British Empire of India, because they attempted a peaceful resolution and they just got crushed. No legitimacy to that movement. Martin Luther King, that's why I can still own a slave today. And that's why I enjoy going to my grocery stores where they have the white section and black sections only, because Martin Luther King and that whole movement was based on peaceful protest, which is foolish on their part, because had they just protested and burned down cities and attacked people, that would have been a lot better, especially because going back to what she said, you want to go high when they go low. You don't want to appear that you're weak or making a valid point. No, you want to go toe to toe with these people who need to violently impose their will upon you.
Would I encourage people to go around punching Nazis? No. But I will also not condemn them for doing so.
Which is a form of promoting it. Let me see, how would I say this? Okay, if I hypothetically had a son, and my son had his beliefs that he wasn't fond of black people because they're violent animals, okay? And I'd ask him why. He's like, oh, because the black kids at school pick on me, and I was looking at these facts about the crime rates of black people in America. At that point, I would have a decision to make. Tell him he's wrong and condemn him and educate him, or say, well, he's coming from this position, and I'm not going to tell him to go burn a cross on black people's lawns and assault them, but I'm not going to condemn it, If I made that decision, people would think I'm insane, that not telling someone that punching someone for their belief or lack of a belief is wrong, even if there is a valid point. So, if my neighbor was upsetting me and they were constantly harassing me and I just go over and punch them in the face one day, it's not okay just because, there was maybe some validity to him upsetting me. I should be condemned for that. Not, I'm not going to say it's wrong. I'm going to say it's not right, but I'm not going to say it's wrong. Take a stance.
The punch was a calling out after a time when too many things were not called out for what they really are. Going high might make us feel good about being the better party, but it is not a suitable response.
Not a suitable response for people who live in cultures that don't have laws, who don't have morals, backwards countries, non-civilized, non-industrial countries, traditional cultures. For all those countries where, the rule of law is not respected, where individuality is not respected, where the rights of free speech aren't respected, she's right, has no place there. But if you do live in one of these places, if you don't live in an honor culture where you can just take out any infringement upon your honor with acts of violence, if you don't live in one of those cities, then it kind of is actually a good thing.
And it doesn't work, particularly now while we face a clear assault on hard-won freedoms and equalities. There is a narcissism of good behavior that needs to be jettisoned. There is a complacency born out of a combination of shock, privilege, and inertia that makes some think that keeping the dignity of liberalism intact will somehow shame bigots into behavior. The alternative to all this futile false equivalency debate is simply to call everything out and protest it, boycott it, march against it, and never let it settle.
I'll put it one more time, sorry.
Keeping the dignity of liberalism intact will somehow shame bigots into behavior.
That's the biggest problem with the whole Democratic movement right now, is their dependency on shame and their assumption that because they think I should be ashamed of being called whatever term they call me today or next week or next month, that I'm going to actually care anymore. That goes back to the whole purpose and reason Trump won. It's because we just don't care anymore what names you call me. And it's that simple. You could shame me, you could have the ex-president's wife call me a racist, and this actor call me a racist, and a musician call me a racist and a bigot. Well, don't care.
The alternative to all this futile, false equivalency debate is simply to call everything out and protest it, boycott it, march against it, and never let it settle.
She is so dumb. Like I said, this whole video was to justify violence. I mean, essentially, boycotting isn't enough. And if he decided to go out and punch someone, well, I'm not going to condemn it. I'm not going to tell you to do it, but who am I to say it's wrong? But at the same time, if I just went out and went to one of these liberal movement mixed with a Black Lives Matter movement, mixed with a feminist movement, and just started punching people, I'm sure she'll be very, very quick to condemn me in doing so. So it's ridiculous. And I'm kind of appalled that a news organization would put something like this out. But backtrack 2 minutes. No, I'm not. Because the liberal media is a abomination today. It's disgusting. I hope you enjoyed my video. Give me any thoughts and commentary. Again, I'll link this video below. The video is 20 minutes long, but the actual video itself is 2 minutes long. So that's me talking a lot. Have a great night, gang.